Good morning to the Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, online viewers, radio listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM and respective radio stations island-wide. I'm Relika Roach and welcome to the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honorable Dr. Anders Rudolph Samuel, to address you. Minister Samuel, you have the virtual floor. Minister, can you kindly unmute your mic, please?
Thank you, Rolika. Good morning. Good morning, PM. Good morning to my colleague ministers. Good morning to the media. Good morning to the people of St. Martin. The Governor's Youth Award for Excellence, established by His Excellency, the Governor, Dr. Anders Eugene Holiday, is now a reality on St. Martin. Yesterday evening, the Governor's Youth Award for Excellence ceremony took place at the Bel Air Community Center. His Excellency, the Governor, awarded 4 young persons between the ages of 13 and 19 with the awards for awareness to the environment, for excellence in the area of art, for excellence in the area of academics. A panel of judges proposed the young persons from throughout the community of St. Martin to the Governor. The award for the environment went to Miss Sarah Bawani. The award for academics went to Miss Rija Baharani Kimjandani, while Mr. Nigel Alexander Adriana was awarded for excellence in academics, and Mr. Roy Angel Clarence Boseman received the award for the area of arts. As Minister of Education, Culture, and Sports, I would like to congratulate Sarah, Rija, Nigel, and Roy Angel with the achieving of the awards, and I encourage them to continue excelling for St. Martin. I would also like to congratulate their families and their friends of these outstanding young people. I would definitely like to thank His Excellency, Dr. Anders Eugene Holiday, Governor of St. Martin, for establishing this award, which I know will help in encouraging young people, the youth of St. Martin, to excel in whatever they are doing. Congratulations to them all. Rolika, I will stop here and await any questions that may come.
Thank you, Minister Samuel, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Arthur Edion, to address you. Minister Edion, you have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Relika. Good morning to you, my colleagues, the media, to all those viewing by different forms and platforms. I would like to remind the participants of the Workforce Development Program, also known as the Coursera online courses, that the deadline to finish all the courses are for free is December 31st. So I would like to recommend that we have about 3 weeks left to finalize the courses and to receive your certificate. Earlier this week, I read an article that was published by the CFTA stating that there has been no progress with the improvement of the financial management. As you know, we have constantly been making adjustments and working with every fair request made by the Netherlands via the CFTA. We have made a plan of approach for the island and financial management issues in their entirety. This includes automation, improved checks and balances, process efficiency, and improvement. A plan that is vast can only be financed successfully with extra investments. Investments have been a regular part of keeping our budget balanced. By the Netherlands refusing to subscribe to the capital bonds for investments, they are also rejecting the proposed solutions in this plan and the possibility of a balanced budget. It's unfortunate to read inaccurate accusations from the CFTA in the article that was published. With the limited resources at our disposal, we have been making strides to improve our financial management. We are updating our financial management with modern ICT solutions catered to our specific needs. We We've implemented a workflow system that is not only competent, but transparent, ensuring that the process from procurement to payment of suppliers is secured and includes an audit trail. This is how we are better to able manage the timelines and the quality. We have been fully accountable to the CFTA. They have had full disclosure and insight into the income and the expenditure. Though legally we are required to provide quarterly reports, we have been providing monthly reports to the supervisory entity. I have also addressed the backlogs in the financial statements of 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018. 2017 and 2018 are being audited as we speak and will be finalized early 2021. The annual report of 2019 is currently available in the draft form and will be finalized as soon as the audits of 2018 and 2017 and 2018 are available. So essentially, we have cleaned up a backlog of 7 annual accounts in one single year. Lastly, while the annual accounts were compiled, improvements were made to the relevant balance sheet items. These are some of the reasons why I disagree with the statements published this week by the CFTA. There have been improvements in a relatively short period of time. I would like to thank all of those in the finance ministry working so diligently, even through the pandemic, for us to have an efficient process and making this happen. I appreciate your efforts. I couldn't have gotten so much done in such a short period of time without you. That'd be all, Rolika.
Thank you, Minister Edion, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, the Honorable Richard Panaflick, to address you. Minister Panaflick, you have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Good morning to the members of the media, my esteemed colleagues of the Council of Ministers, and all the people of St. Martin. Season greetings to all and a joyous and safe holiday season. I would like to provide you, the public, with an update on the latest COVID statistics. As of December 8th, CPS has registered 1,161 COVID-19 cases. 1,041 cases have recovered, 26 deaths have been attributed to COVID-19, and there are currently 94 active cases. CPS reporting about 9 new cases per day. This increase is likely because by a rise in the number of symptomatic people coming forward for testing, as well as the expansion of the testing strategy to close contacts, which has detected asymptomatic cases. I commend persons who have contacted CPS and continue to urge persons to come forward and call your general practitioner or CPS if you are experiencing any symptoms. As we have seen over the course of the outbreak on St. Martin, this can affect anyone, and there is no shame in coming forward. While I understand that everyone wants life to go back to pre-COVID times, especially with the holiday seasons, the reality of the matter is that if cases continue to increase, we will need to ensure that our healthcare capacity and that of essential frontline staff are not burdened once again. I am urging everyone to follow the advice of CPS if they are placed in quarantine or isolation to remain at home. CPS is seeing a poor compliance to the measures, and I take this opportunity to remind the public that quarantine and isolation are interventions meant to help protect the public by preventing exposure to people who have or may have COVID-19. Everyone needs to do their part to keep our cases low. SZV, CoM, and CPS are working together to disseminate a survey to the general public about COVID-19. This survey will be launched in mid-December, and the results will be used to inform a comprehensive communication strategy. I encourage everyone to take the time and complete the survey once it is launched. Over the past couple of weeks, the Department of Public Health and CPS have engaged in conversations with the Ministry of Health, Welfare, Sports in the Netherlands and with those departments of the other countries, Aruba and Curacao. This is according to the vaccines that will be available to the communities of the kingdom countries. There was again a full country consultation of the kingdom with the subject vaccine. That is the consultation between the ministers of Curaçao, Aruba, St. Martin, and the State Secretary, Paul Blokhuizen from the Netherlands, which is in part of the agreement with that the vaccines by 2021, early in part of the 2021, will be rolled out, which is part of the agreement with the Netherlands that they will keep providing the vaccine and the materials needed that the vaccines will be available. CPS and the public health are in the process of developing a vaccination strategy, and once more information is known, this will be communicated to the public in a timely manner. I would hereby like to end by reminding all to wash your hands, keep your distance, and wear a mask when in public places. God bless you and have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Panafleck, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, the Honorable Silveira Jacobs, to address you. Prime Minister Jacobs, you have the virtual floor.
Good morning. Good morning, colleague ministers, members of the press, Ms. Roach, and all those listening and viewing via the various media streams. Firstly, I'd like to update the general public that despite what may have been stated, whether in jest or in seriousness, the Council of Ministers, in its effort to elevate the image and delivery of our Council of Ministers press briefing, have asked our Department of Communications since several months ago to update and ensure that we are doing the best we can, especially now that we have gone virtual for the most part. As such, the Department of Communication communicated this to our media partners on November 9th. And as such, I would like to thank all those who are now contributing with their cameras on, etc., as per the policy that has been implemented. I look forward to us continuing to keep our press briefings on a very high level as we represent the country to the outer world as well, not just locally here on St. Martin and within the region. I'd like to also add my congratulatory remarks to those of our Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, Dr. Anders Samuel, as we both attended the Governor's Youth Award for Excellence ceremony last evening. It is indeed good to have been actually in a face-to-face, well socially distanced ceremony, and I must add my congratulations to those young people who were awarded the Governor's Youth Award for Excellence in academics, in academics, environment, and in arts. For me, it's even great to know that this initiative was taken. The committee did an excellent job. I also would like to congratulate all of those who were nominated as well as their parents, because to even be nominated for such an award is an honor. And I hope that you are not discouraged and look at this as a way to continue to grow, continue to build yourself, and be the difference that you want to see in our community. These types of award ceremonies highlight positivity, and so I thank His Excellency the Governor for actually doing so. Several other community groups are doing similarly over the years, but of course, to receive an honor from the Governor, the students did express their sincere gratitude as well as their parents during the ceremony. Congratulations to you all, and continue to be the change that you want to see. St. Martin does have a bright future ahead of it, and more opportunities to highlight positive is what we as government will continue to do. Congratulations. Also held this weekend was our 21st annual Thanksgiving service, virtually this time, on Sunday via the official government Facebook page under the theme, Thank You, Lord. I'd like to take some time right now also to thank the Council of Churches, the Department of Culture, and the Department of Communication, as well as all those stakeholders who played a key role in the success of the event, which occurs annually, not just to show gratitude for safe passage or just passage through the hurricane season, because whether we get hit or not, we will give thanks, but also to start off our Christmas season. So the official start of the Christmas season is here, and I would like to ask all to remember to continue to be safe at all times. As the general public may be aware, the government of St. Martin has been in ongoing discussions and negotiations with the Ministry of Interior Relations and Foreign Affairs, based at CA, to discuss the conditions for liquidity support. The meetings have been quite intense indeed, and although there are still pending agreements concerning a few of the remaining open points, I expect that we can come to an agreement within short. Although my stance still remains that this is not the best vehicle for liquidity support to be done in this manner. It is basically a pass station to have further discussions on the entity, as Curacao and Aruba had already agreed, and it is being vetted or perused by the the Kingdom Council of State, which has to render its advice to the Kingdom Council of Ministers for further reporting and follow-up. After this, of course, the parliaments of the 4 countries will have the opportunity to debate this law, and so we will await the changes that will surely come as a result of that process and procedure. As such, our discussions were mostly centered on the, let's call it, country packages, and in preparation for the meetings this week, which have been ongoing, the basic CAB pre-meetings, as well as meetings with the NRPB were held in order to fully understand how far the trust fund is in jeopardy. And as a result of these discussions currently taking place pertaining to the structural reforms. So not only are we having discussions related to liquidity support for the government of St. Martin to be able to sustain, especially those persons who are currently receiving salary support via the government of St. Martin and those receiving unemployment under the SMDF. We also had to have serious discussions as to the state of the projects currently going through the trust fund and our discussions with our steering committee. As a result, the discussions, though they remain amicable, we are still trying our best to negotiate the most feasible terms for St. Martin. We will be experiencing some setbacks with some of the projects that were already going through the, let's call it the trust fund, as they may have to be passed over to the new entity. This will lead to some additional significant delays. We are really stressing that especially our financial management is a priority for us, and we will continue to seek ways to ensure that that receives the necessary priority setting in the discussions moving forward. Seeing our current financial position, we are left with little options despite our best efforts to secure a deal that this government can comfortably present to the Parliament of St. Martin. We have submitted additional feedback after our last discussions and are awaiting the updated agreement document to be sent, after which I will be able to then discuss with the Council of Ministers and Parliament, and we can move forward. We hope that the coming changes, as the people of St. Martin know, our finance minister has been updating as to our liquid position, the developments within our economy, and necessarily the changes that have to be made within our structures to bring improvement across the board for the people of St. Martin. So that is what we are striving for as a government, and I look forward to being able to divulge more information as we come closer to coming to some sort of agreement as it relates to the improvements needed for the people of St. Martin. Also held this week, yesterday the 8th, and continuing tomorrow on the 10th, our ministerial conference of the overseas countries and territories of the European Union, OCTA. OCTA is a platform consisting of the overseas countries and territories and the member states of the European Union. This platform serves as a voice for OCTs and increases the visibility of the OCTs in the EU. Yesterday, December 8th, a ministerial conference was held to which a new chair of the OCTA was elected, namely New Caledonia. The outgoing chair was none other than our Curaçao Prime Minister, Mr. Eugène Regenaat. St. Martin has also been elected as a member of the executive committee, and this committee is responsible for ensuring that the decisions taken in OCTA are actually put into action and works with a secretariat. It is imperative that St. Martin takes use of these opportunities. As such, not only brings awareness of our developmental challenges and goals as overseas countries and small island development states, but also awards opportunities for partnerships, funding, and other forms of assistance. And so we will continue to collaborate so that we can pursue all options to enhance European relations in this regard. I believe it was already in the press, but I would like to remind the general public that the Clem La Vega parking lot is open, not for paid parking, but gratis, as they would say, at this time. As such, you are asked to make use of the lot in the proper manner, of course, parking at your own risk and ensuring that there is no blockage taking place. We will not be assuming any liabilities for accidents, theft, or damages for cars left in Clem La Vega Square. And I would like to remind that the other parking is for civil servants, members of parliament, and is reserved for such. So you run a risk of being towed if you are illegally parked in that section. K1 Britannia Angels are once again here in front of the government building, and some 300 persons have picked up over 500 angels thus far, bringing much joy to the less fortunate this Christmas season. So I would like to encourage all of those who have to give to come by the government administration building from 9 to 6 and give a gift of love to any one of these youngsters in need by choosing their angel and dropping off a gift for them. K1 Britannia will be here until Friday, December 11th. A quick reminder, please avoid large gatherings, continue to use proper face mask, social distancing when with persons not within your household, hand washing and respiratory etiquette, and stay safe, St. Martin. The life you save may be your loved ones or your very own. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs, for your opening remarks. If you've just joined us, you are watching the Live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. Thank you for joining us. We now move on to the question and answer session, but before we begin, I would like to inform the members of the media that the Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transport and Telecommunication, the Honorable Ludmila de Wever, is present, however, will not be making any opening statements. The floor is open, and Bibi Shah of SMN News, you have the floor.
Good morning, ministers, good morning, colleagues. Prime Minister Jacobs, I noticed the Minister of Justice, who only yesterday a letter came out from the unions saying that they have lost confidence in her, is not here, but I have a different question for the government. Even though this falls under the minister, I assume the Council of Ministers is well aware, and you as Prime Minister can give us an update. Prime Minister Jacobs, can you tell us if the government of St. Martin has issued a DMV license, a data vehicle registration license to a private citizen? Can you tell me if that license was issued, who it was issued to, and when it was issued? And then if you can further elaborate and tell me, why would the government of St. Martin choose to give a private citizen a license for data registry, whereby this registry would have almost everyone that owns a vehicle. Everyone that owns a vehicle in St. Martin, their private information will now be in the hands of a private company or private citizen. Can you clarify or inform me if such a license was issued, to whom it was issued, when it was issued, and why this decision was taken? Thanks.
Good morning once again. The Minister of Justice did notify CoM, and I don't know if it was announced that she would not be able to attend this morning due to other meetings that could not be put off. The minister is usually here and is always available to answer any questions that you would want, that when she's not here, submitted in writing. Based on what I know from many years ago, Several proposals had come forth. I do not know of any awarding being done to any particular company or individual. I cannot confirm nor deny such, and that would be something that you would have to receive in writing at a later date. Further to the statements being made within the media related to the unions and whatnot, what I can relate is what the minister has related last week, I believe, and the week before, that there were ongoing discussions, that there were positive discussions, that the minister updated the unions as to the current status of the function books and where we are as a government, and the Ministry of General Affairs and Justice are collaborating to get this done as quickly as possible. So that is a trajectory that is ongoing. I think it is about 2 weeks later than what we would want. We would have wanted to have it finalized before mid-December. We will get an update from the committee. We are part of the committee as well. There's a working committee and then there's a steering committee, and we have the steering committee meetings every 2 to 3 weeks. So we had one last week, and hopefully we can get an update soon in terms of where we are. And I just ask for patience in this matter.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs. Thank you, BB, for the question. I would now like to invite Dimitri Whitfield of the Daily Herald. You have the floor.
Hi, good morning to the Council of Ministers, to the Honorable Prime Minister Jacobs, to the rest of my colleagues in the media. Good morning, Sir Martin. My first question is to Minister Panfleck. And Minister, you spoke a little bit about CPS developing a vaccination strategy and the COVID-19 vaccinations that we may get from the Netherlands. And if you will allow me, I will want to ask a few interrelated questions on this. So firstly, is it already known approximately how much of the vaccine will be given to Sir Martin from the Netherlands' stock that they will get from the European Union? Around when will Sir Martin receive the first batches of vaccines? Which groups will be prioritized, for example, those over 60 years old? And finally, what are some of the preliminary plans being drawn up to distribute and administer the vaccine effectively? Thank you.
Good morning once again. Concerning the question asked, the following. Yesterday, we had the 4-country consultation with the governments of the 4 countries to start the preliminary discussions how to go about this. First of all, a plan is being worked on that will be submitted at the end of this week, early next week, where this will be the discussion. Let me rephrase. The totality of the vaccination plan is something that will be carried out by the whole kingdom, meaning the Netherlands, St. Martin, Aruba, and Curacao, being the best islands falling under direct supervision of the Netherlands. So a plan will be made how to go about the vaccinations that will be available. There will be an amount preliminary available. It is not so that if you would have followed the news, that the Netherlands will get the millions of vaccines at one time. It will be in phases. And because it will be in phases, a plan has to be put in place geographically to any of the countries. What is the best, seeing the best practice of the world, what the scientists are advising to set up a plan. So yes, we all listen to the news going on in the world, either social media or news media broadcasting. There are some groups that are defined as the most vulnerable. People with underlying condition, people of age, the frontliners, etc., etc. All of that have to be. Seeing that you will not get the amount to vaccine everybody. And that's another question too, if it is mandatory, yes or no. So far within our system, vaccination can't be mandatory. It is something that we will make also a program, making people aware of the benefits of it, but it is not that you can force somebody to take the injections. So in concluding, there will be plans for everything how to go. I want to take, before I end, before the vaccines reach our shores, there are preparations that have to be done. As most of us already heard lately, these vaccines have to be stored at -80 degrees Celsius. Once you get them out, you have more or less 5 days to to distribute them. And another thing, figuratively speaking, if we get like 1,000, that means it's 500 people that can be vaccinated from that 1,000. Why? Because it's a double shot vaccination. You will get the vaccine the first time, and then 4 weeks after, you will have to get the next dosage for the immune system to catch in. So there is a whole plan that will proceed this. And just like I say, you need to have the storage location. The storage location is also part of the package that will be provided through the kingdom. The storage have to reach St. Martin. It has to be tested and make sure that it's working perfectly, and then the vaccines can come. So we are busy doing the preparations. As a matter of fact, the same speed we are all going for, it's being done in the whole kingdom. And out of the first batch that eventually will be available, we, St. Martin, also will take part in it. And I hope, but that is one of the things, is that most likely the Dutch Caribbean islands will be the first islands in the Caribbean that might be getting these vaccines. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Panafek, and thank you, Dimitri, for the question. I would now like to invite Andrew Dick of TV Carib. You have the floor.
Yes, good morning to all. Minister of BSF, just a clarification. How much would the vaccine cost? Is there a price tag to it yet? I know many people are wondered if it would be covered by SZB or not. So if you could give us some clarity on that before I ask the question.
Thank you, Mr. Andrew. Indeed, I did not say that. Let me specify again. This whole operation of vaccination will be covered by the Kingdom government / the Netherlands. So it will be no cost to us. They will provide the vaccines, and they will provide also the storage. The storage of freezer, people will say a freezer is a freezer. A -80 degrees freezing capacity is not a regular freezer. That is something that's very thick. And why, you will ask, it have to be tested? It's just bring here, plug it in. No, first of all, European current is 50 hertz. We have 60 hertz. That's one thing. But they will provide a converter. The other thing is, if you have to go from 10, or even in the winter time, most likely in January in Europe and in the States, from 0 degrees outside and go to -80, it's a different thing than if you have to go from 30 degrees Celsius above to 80 degrees. We always understand that's 110 degrees that you have to freeze. So that's why all of these things have to be taken and make sure that they all work, because those vaccines will not be able to be used if you don't storage them at the correct temperature. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification, Minister. So now the question is for Minister Atwell Irian concerning 2021 budget, the draft budget. How far are we? How far is the process?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Dick. The 2021 budget should be in Parliament by February.
Thank you, Minister Edion. Thank you, Minister Panafleck and Andrew, for the question. I would now like to invite Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the virtual floor.
Good morning to the ministers and to the people of St. Martin. And I gotta reach out also, especially to the children of St. Martin. I want to say morning to you, children of St. Martin who love Mr. Brown very much, and I love you too. Now, the question is, let me use the Prime Minister terminology, it can be segue, but we are highlighting the airport. Ministers, the airport is in crisis. The relationship at the airport is not very good. But can the airport board refocus their focus, and how can we make the airport better? Remember, it is an international airport. Can we just shift a little bit off of Mr. Mingo and say, how can we make the airport better? For this reason, ministers, recently, there was an ex-police officer who said, I'm gonna bust a path. And it become history. But there's a lot of things there soon. If this process continue at the airport, there will be breaking news. And ministers, please, can you guys just settle this problem? I'm finished now. I am finishing now.
Direct the question to one minister and do it within the next 15 seconds. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm asking the minister, I'm finishing now. Can you guys hurriedly settle this problem? Because there will be a breaking news at the airport, which will not be very good for St. Martin. So, Minister De Wever, well.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Brown, are you asking me what the status is of the airport? I just want a direct question, please.
Mr. Brown, you're muted.
Hey, Minister, I'm emphasizing the crisis at the airport. So it's very serious. That's what I'm saying. If it continues like this, there will be a breaking news, which will not be very good for St. Martin.
And Mr. Brown, I am just wondering what the question is. If you're talking about what's going on at the airport as an NV with an operating and a holding board and managing directors are handling it. And as shareholders, we are very much aware of the situation that is going there. The airport has made some progress recently. I do not know what you are speculating about breaking news because I cannot foresee the future, but the airport, everything is being discussed. Government is aware of the challenges of the airport and we are dealing with it.
Thank you, Minister De Wever. Minister De Wever also has to leave this meeting. Minister, thank you for joining us. Mr. Brown, thank you for the question. I would now like to invite Jeffrey Dr. Sockren of Island 92 Radio. You have the floor.
Thank you, Rolika, and season's greetings. Happy holidays to everyone that is here. I'd like to direct this, if I might, to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, in your opening statement, you spoke a little bit about some of the things that you were asking the Department of Communications to do to certify members of the media and their credentials. I can assure you that the organization which I work for has submitted all of the requested information with two exceptions. And the two exceptions that we have not submitted are police records and civil registry records, because I think we would all agree that during the current pandemic, that economic health and public health are both very, very important. And to get a police record, which is information that the government already has through the Ministry of Justice, requires that a member of the media make an appointment and go stand in line and submit the proper request and pay a fee. So same thing with the civil registry extract. And it seems to me that this is really a money grab for the fees, as small as they are, quite frankly. And it seems like it's not in the best interest of both public health and economic health to have people waiting in line for things that can be easily obtained through the existing relationships that the government has. You know, if someone submits their ID card and their residency permit, you can't have either of those documents, especially with a permanent residency permit, that if you weren't registered at the census office. So I'm not, this clearly seems like it's not a best practice. And quite frankly, we will not put our staff members at health's way to wait in line for these documents. So I'd like to understand why we're requesting things that seem to just be out of sort with the pandemic that we're already in. You know, especially this organization submitted its Chamber of Commerce extract, my residency permit, my permanent residence permit, the business director's license, the business license, the director's license, my ID card, my CV. So why this extra thing? It seems like we're making a grave mistake.
Thank you for the comment. I guess it's a comment. I can assure you that it's definitely not a cash grab or whatever term was used. That was not the intention, as I mentioned in my opening statements, in an effort to ensure that we can professionalize these proceedings. Simply, we can shake our heads as much as we like. Simply coming forth and asking questions. There have been many questions as to the legitimacy. And if you have submitted all of the documents, then kudos to you for that. I don't believe all of the other documents have been submitted. I was updated by DCOM that getting the registration and or what's the other form? The one from Justice, police record does take some time. So once the process, I know a lot can be done online as well. And yes, we are moving towards a more streamlined government where you wouldn't need to, but you would still need the permission of the person to be able to access that across board. So it is not so that it's not possible, but the permissions have to be there for that type of information to be shared among different entities. I don't know if the Minister of Finance wants to have an additional statement on this, but in the efforts to ensure the quality of the level. So maybe you have submitted, Mr. Sakrin, but I don't believe we have received from all persons in our media at this time. So I just want to assure you that it was not about cash. It was about ensuring that we have all that information on file. And for the most part, we were told that it was outdated information that was had from the majority. So if yours is updated, then that should be fine. Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Prime Minister, Mr. Sakrin. I can't understand why we have about 7 media houses inside here, times even 20 gillers. That would not even put a dent in the budget of government. So I don't see how that could be a cash grab. In any case, I'm pretty sure with your experience and so forth, you understand press credentials, right? Every government in the world, there's a press credentials. And if you even look at comparisons of even the US, which I was mentioned because that's the most popular country at the moment, even they have press credentials. Not every single person could just get up one morning and decide that they want to sit down in front of the president and ask him questions. I also believe that for St. Martin as a country, we should also have, at the very least, the basic press credentials to be able to address the ministers and even parliamentarians going forward. We are now virtual. So we don't have the possibility of being in our press conference room as normal, but even if we were there, the behavior is different. having persons on camera swinging their hands up and down while the Prime Minister is speaking. You act differently in person, so there's no reason to be unprofessional while we are virtual. And I think that we should have basic respect, basic credentials to be able to address the ministers and parliamentarians in this country.
Thank you, Minister Edion. Thank you, Prime Minister. And thank you, Dr. Zak, for the question. We now move on to the final round of questions. And I would like to once again inform the members of media to pose direct and concise questions to the ministers. Bibi Shab, SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rulaika. I actually have two questions, so I will put them in both if the ministers can answer. Appreciate it.
Bibi, unfortunately, we are pressed for time, and I need you to just ask one question to one minister. Thank you.
All right. Minister Edion, I listened to your statements regarding the CFT, and the way I gather is like you're surprised at the behavior or the statements made by the CFT. I mean, a couple weeks ago, the CFT basically blackmailed the government with the bond issue. Can you tell me what changed back then to the current statement? Because I'm not surprised with what they have said. So I gather you're surprised. And if so, and with this statement that they just made, what's new? Or what else should we expect from the CFT, the Dutch government?
Thank you, Ms. Shaw. Was I surprised by the statement? No, I think this is their custom at the moment. And I think we can expect it to be even worse going forward based on the landenpakket, how do you say it in English? The country packages and the increased powers that the CFTA will be given going forward. I believe that this article was just the preliminary vision into the future of what it would look like for the CFTA going forward.
Thank you, Minister Edion. Thank you, Bibi, for the question. I would now like to invite Dimitri Whitfield. You have the floor.
Thank you, Rulaika. My final question is to Minister Panafleck. Minister Panafleck, in your capacity as Minister of Labor, there have been, I think it was Minister De Wever, who a couple of weeks ago, I asked her on the press briefing about St. Martin's unemployment rate. And now I'm asking you, with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic, what is St. Martin's current unemployment rate, especially considering that she said at the time that the ministry was compiling data on these numbers. So can you tell us more about the business closures during the pandemic and what's St. Martin's current unemployment rate? Has this been completed? What are the latest figures?
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. As you may or may not know, monthly there will be reporting on the figures from the Labor Office, just like you have figures from CPS. Because they are the pandemic, you will get that daily, but normally the reporting take place monthly. I have to say I'm still waiting to receive those for November, but it will be released as soon as I get them, as I do all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Panafleck. Thank you, Dimitri. I would now like to invite Andrew Dick. You have the floor.
Thank you, Rulaika. Question for the Prime Minister. Independent Member of Parliament Christopher Emmanuel resigned from the National Alliance. From the time that he didn't sign the accord, you said that you would have met with the board and with National Alliance board, and then an announcement would have come. That never came. So now, months later, now he goes independent from the National Alliance faction. So, as leader, your reaction?
Thank you, Mr. Dick. The letter was received, I believe, on Monday or during the weekend by our party board and will be held or dealt with as such. I am not at liberty to discuss what the board how the board will deal with this. The meeting or the discussions that we talked about that would happen, happened. Subsequent meetings were supposed to take place, which did not, and as such, there was nothing to report at that time. So a response will be sent to the Honorable MP as expected.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs. Thank you, Andrew, for the question. I would now like to invite Lyndon Brown. You have the floor. Oh, Andrew?
For clarification there, Prime Minister, maybe if you can also tell me if Christmas Day this year will be working or not. Is it an official holiday or not? Some people were asking about the Christmas holidays. If this Christmas, you're going to have, can you hear me? Yes, Christmas. If this Christmas they have an official holiday.
You're asking if Christmas Day is an official holiday? Minister Viesa?
Oh, yes, Minister Viesa.
Minister Viesa. Thank you, Mr. D.
Thank you. Christmas Day, I would have thought everybody know. It's official holiday. Yes, it is official holiday. Nevertheless, which day it falls in whatever year. December 25th, where Christmas is being celebrated by the Christians, is official holidays. If it falls on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, it will remain a holiday. Well, you never know. Maybe in the future they might change it, but as long as we are here still, it is official holiday. Hope I have answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Panafleck and Andrew. I would now like to invite Lyndon Brown. You have the floor.
Morning again to the ministers. This question going directly to the Minister of Finance. Minister, you mentioned just now the CFT, and you emphasize disappointment. Recently, the Prime Minister said the same thing, disappointment. Now, according to the Minister Panafleck, he said in 2021 we might have the vaccine. That shows that St. Martin will have to depend on the Dutch so long. I mean, we need finance to take care of the government and the people of St. Martin and their disappointment. Minister Finance, is there a way out? Because every time disappointment, every time the goalposts keep on going further, what the good things, ministers, you can say to the people of St. Martin? The people of St. Martin are in crisis, in pain. Minister, I'm going to stay right there.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Brown. I believe that every week you ask me the exact same question. You make the same statement that the people are in crisis and what we're going to do about the economy. And every week we have the same answer in regards to the economy, the picking up of the economy and so forth. I do not get the correlation with the vaccine and the Netherlands. I can say that the Minister Panafleck said that the Dutch Caribbean Islands are more than likely, or will be the ones more than likely to be the first islands in the Caribbean to have the vaccine. I think that's a very good step forward. The vaccine would not be available around the world to every country in full quantities. I see in England, they only have about 800,000 for December, and the US have a couple million. But it's only a small percentage in regards to their population size. What I do hope is that as much countries get the vaccine as soon as possible, for the main reason is that we depend on tourism. So the faster that they are vaccinated, the faster that they have the virus under control, we could start back our economy again, have cruise ships back again. So for me, it's also vital that other countries do their part and have access to vaccines, have the virus under control so that our economy could be up and running again. And hopefully in the future, not only hopefully, but we will be looking at ways on diversifying our economy to not be able to depend on tourism as much, so we're able to handle external shocks such as pandemics and natural disaster, hopefully in the future.
Thank you, Minister Edion, and thank you, Lyndon, for the question. As Dr. Sock has no further questions, this does bring us to the end of the question and answer session. Members of the media, thank you so much for joining us. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners, and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live Council of Ministers for today, December 9th, 2020. For rebroadcast, tune into St. Martin Cable TV, channel 115, St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, the official Facebook page of the Government of St. Martin, and the YouTube channel Government of St. Martin. For video on demand, log on to the official government's website at stmartingov.org. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Government of St. Martin, I'm Relaika Roach, wishing you a pleasant day further and happy holidays.